Yo, what up world? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a Sam Smith style track, and you know how I usually do these things. I kind of take influences from the artist and add my own flair to it, and hopefully we come out with something nice in the end. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. I'm going to set the tempo to 84 and open up kontakt. We're going to be using a lot of real instruments, and what I mean by real instruments, just like not synthesized stuff, more sampled bass. So we're gonna go with a piano. And this is a real sampled piano, not a synthesized piano. So we're gonna grab a bass. I'm gonna go with the Scarby bass, the deep preset, because I don't want anything too trebly or too punchy. It's not really the sound we're looking for. And this takes forever to load. Even coming off a solid state drive, this takes so long to load. All right, and the last thing, I think I'm gonna grab, do I want a violin or a cello? I think I'm gonna go with a cello, emotional cello. So yeah, if you like these like kind of beat making videos, definitely consider subscribing. I put out a few a week with a wide variety of different artists and genres and stuff like that. So yeah. All right, so we got our piano, our bass, and our cello. So at this point we got to do some technical stuff. I need to get each one of these different instruments into their own mixer track here at the bottom. First thing I need to do is go into the wrench tool, and not the wrench tool, the plug tool, whatever the hell it's called, and set this to 0. Let's go back into kontakt, and we'll keep the piano in mixer 1. The bass will go in mixer 2, and the cello will go in mixer 3. So let's just verify that everything is in the right spot. So I'm looking at this right here in the bottom. So the piano in 1, that's good. Bass in 2, that's good. And cello in 3, perfect. But we're still not done. We got to go back into the channel rack and open up a MIDI out. And we need to clone this 2 times. So the first should be channel 1, that's the piano. Second should be channel 2, which is the bass. And third is channel 3, which is the cello. And I'm just gonna name these so it's a little less confusing. All right, but we're still not done. We have to go into the processing tab, and I'm not even going to explain this. It's a little complicated, but I'm just putting the main kontakt in track 1 and just routing each of these, the bass, the piano, and the cello into their own mixer in FL Studio. So now we should actually be seeing audio coming into the FL Studio mixer. Okay, perfect. All right, so at this point we're ready to actually start writing some music. All right, so let's start with the piano chords. So I'm going to go into the piano roll, and I'm going to start with an A minor. So I'm just going to punch that in. That is A, C, and E. And then we'll go to an F, which is F, A, and C. So we'll just punch that in. And then we're gonna go to a regular C major, which is just C, E, and G. So we'll punch that in. Stretch that out. So let's give this a listen. Okay, it sounds okay, but we can make it a little better, I think. I want to make this A chord into a this A minor chord into an A minor 7th. So I'm just going to add the G which will make it into a 7th chord. So that sounds a little more full, a little more lush. And we can add a lower A to it, 1 octave lower, and that's just going to give it a little more thickness. And we'll do the same with this F chord. We're not going to make it into a 7th, but we'll just add the lower octave. And you know, it's just giving it that weight. And for this C, we can add a lower C and maybe an extra G. Let's see how this sounds. Awesome, way more fuller, but we can take this a step further. I'm going to highlight everything. Actually, we should do it this way first. Let's just copy this over and hit Control A to highlight everything. Hit Alt S to strum, and I'm going to strum it not too much, and just cut off this excess here. So let's give this a listen. Sounds way more realistic. Maybe we can add some like passing notes, like a high A right here. How would that sound? Maybe a low A here. Just lower the octave, lower the velocity. All right, I dig it. Let's go into the mixer because this is a really dry sound. So let's give it a little more life. We'll start off with a reverb. Make the room pretty big. Cut the lows out. Raise the wetness a little bit, not too much decay. And see how that sounds. Okay, cool. Let's add a chorus to it. I'm going to use the preset poly chorus, but we're just going to use a drop of it. Barely noticeable, but it gives it a little more texture. And let's add stereo enhancer, and we'll just set the preset to subtle. And finally an EQ, just to bump those lows down a bit. All right, cool. I definitely like that. Let's go into the bass. So we're not going super fancy with the bass. Just gonna more or less follow the root note of the piano chords. I don't know why it's cutting off in a weird way. Let me just copy this over. Okay, cool. That is literally all I wanted the bass to do. And now we can mess with the cello. Same thing. We're going to keep it simple. Sam Smith's tracks are really about his vocals. We're just giving him some nice, and just some nice atmosphere to work with. So cello was great for that. So with cellos, I kind of like to go up and then down, then like really up high again. Something went over. All right, let's give this one more listen before we get into drums. Cool, I think we're ready for drums. All right, so for the drums, I want to use real drums. In other words, like not 808s and 909s and stuff like that. So where can I find that? Thinking Legacy, drums, real drum kits. All right. Get a kick in there. Get a snare. Closed hat and an open hat. So I'm just pasting this kick pattern, and we'll paste the snare pattern. Trying to see if there's any room for any extra kick hits, but I'm not really hearing any. So for the hi-hat, we're just gonna put it on every 4 steps. Let's go and delete all of this. I'm just gonna lower the velocity just a little bit on every other one. Then highlight that, Control B to paste it over to each bar. And let's lower that and pan it. All right, so let's see if we can fit this open hi-hat before the snare hit. Before the snare hits. So not before every hit, but maybe like every other one. So let's try it right here. We're probably gonna have to shorten it up a little bit in the envelope. So how do I want to do this? Yeah, something like that. Need to lower it. Shorter than that. That's not bad. Yeah, I can work with that. So same thing, we're just gonna paste that over. So I heard this on a few of his tracks, so I'm gonna try to recreate that. Is there a tambourine? All right, so I'm just gonna layer the kick with a tambourine. So every time the kick hits, we'll get a little tambourine. sound, and we're also going to want to shorten that up. All right, cool. So to really emulate the feel and recreate the sound of a real live drum kit, which is what I hear on a lot of his records, we're just gonna put everything in the same mixer track, and we're just gonna throw a reverb on it. This is kind of gonna give the listener an illusion that it was all being played in like one room, like a real drum kit. So we're gonna make this room pretty big. Raise the wet. Let me add an EQ to this. All right, the drums sound, I like it, but they sound a bit stiff. So what I want to do now is let's take the swing off of Kontakt, which that will take it off everything, the piano, the bass, and the cello. And what we can do is raise the swing in the channel rack, and that's going to give the drums just a little more bounce and won't sound so quantized and computerized. And furthermore, we can even take the hi-hat a bit off the grid. Let's see how that works. Cool, definitely has a little more bounce. It's not super noticeable, but you can just hear it has a little more, I would say, groove to it. So one last, what else do I want to add to this? It's pretty much it. Most of his tracks are very minimalistic. I'm going to open up an omnisphere. There's a lot of ambience and textures in a lot of his tracks, so we'll kind of maybe recreate something like that. So I'm going to go into textures, playable, distant glow. That sounds really cool, actually. So I'm going to copy all the piano notes. We're going to paste it here, but we're going to have to clean this up quite a bit. So let's get rid of these low notes. Let's get rid of these passing notes. And yeah, let's get rid of some of these high notes too. Just so it's a little cleaner. Let's see how this sounds. All right, cool. Just gives a little more ambience and a little more texture to the track. That's really about it. There would obviously be probably a chord change for the chorus, or maybe like a bridge section, but I'm not going to get into all that. That would make the video like 2 hours long. So yeah, this is kind of my take on a Sam Smith track. Let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.